Welcome back to the Old Dude Horse Training. I'm Bruce Wilson, the old dude at the Old Dude Horse Training. And if you're watching this again, I'm so sorry you really have to be bored. But I love horse training. And those of you who haven't watched some of the other series, I went out and advertised for one of the wildest horses I could find and had a ton of selection. But this is Blue. He's almost a 17 hand Friesian, looks like Blue mix cross. Uh, Incredibly reactive. Does not like you in the pen, does not like to be around you. And so I'm going to come out here and I'm going to take you through these videos. Here you see I'm round penning him. He still wants to turn and go the wrong direction, so I get after him. Um, Now I'm going to ask him if he wants to come in and be my friend. But we've worked on round penning, we've worked on lunging, I've worked on haltering, and trying to get him where I can be in his space. I've worked on getting him where I can rub him a little bit on his neck and his front withers and shoulders, and just trying to bond with this horse and connect with him. And so he's still, you see, a little awful sensitive. Even when I reach up, he's a little sensitive still. So every day I have to take him through every step, and I'll take him through every step every day. Round pen, lunge, bring him in uh, for quite a while. I want him, I'm going to do a lot of approach and retreat. See, I reach for his head. He still doesn't like that. He still doesn't like me. So I'm approaching and retreating. I'm approaching and retreating. Uh, Rub it away. I just want to build some kind of connection with this horse. And every day it takes him a little while to warm up. And I've stuck with him every day. And it gives me something to do. I normally don't do anything with horses in the winter too much, but as fat as I am and sexy as I am, I got to do something to, to to keep my stamina. So here I'm just approach and retreat, rub it away, rub it away. You can see how sensitive he is. You can see how he's worried, but he's not running off. I'm going to show him the rope. I'm going to rub him with the rope, let him know it's okay. Every day I got to come back to these exercises. If I reach up to grab the halter, he's going to take off. He's okay. So let's halter him up and let's start training. But it just shows you always have to desensitize. You always have to work with this. And as long as they're reacting to anything, you have to work it every day for as many days as it takes until that reaction goes away, until that reaction becomes normal. Even you can see leading isn't normal from him. I've been working on leading. He wants to pull on the rope. He wants to tug. He wants to be strong. And I'm going to work a little bit on backing him up. Grab my stick. I've worked a little bit with backing him up. He's not real good at it, but see how he pulls? See how he pulls? If he would keep pulling too hard and not coming, I would drive around his rear end like I showed you in video 2. So I'm going back. Now I'm going to work on to the next step of my exercise training. We're just going to go to desensitizing the space. So I'm throwing the rope out around. I'm not throwing it at him. I started throwing it to the sides. He didn't like that. And I keep slowly throwing this rope in closer and closer and closer. You throw the rope at this horse, good luck. You'll be a while till you calm him down and catch him again. He'll pull it out of your hand, and I'm not strong enough. And I don't want to be strong enough to do that. And I don't want to teach him that habit. If I throw something at him, I want him to take off. So now I'm slapping the air, waving the air. I'm making sure there's not a mosquito over there, telling him there's no flies, no mosquitoes. Uh, Throwing the and that's why I like this lead rope. This one, I believe, 16 feet. I get too much bigger than that, and I take that back. This is probably only 14 feet, but so I've used 18, 16. But depending on what exercise I do, this 14 works. I'm just slapping. I'm making noise because his horse, if I do this before, uh, he'd be gone. Now that I put that pressure, I'm going to go rub it away. I've worked the T-spot. I've told you that before. You see how he's still reactive with his head. You watch the other videos. I've been able to rub his head no problem. Every day I got to go back to desensitizing, rub it away, getting used to me handling him, getting me used to touching him. We don't know if this horse was a bucking horse or what. I mean, if you go back and look at video 1, he's got scars. He's really been abused a little bit, or I want to say abused because the gal that owns him now, Ariel, she's great and she wants this horse the best and she's doing everything she can for him, and I appreciate that. But somebody who before her had this horse just didn't either put any time, or they used him in a tried to buck on him in a rodeo, or just was my old dad's method where you just whip the horse, whip the horse, whip the horse, and that is not me. That's not my style. So I'm just going back to desensitize. I can tell he's nervous. I'm just going back to what I did the other day, desensitizing the air, desensitizing his face, rubbing the space around him. Uh, Getting him used to me handling him, getting him used to me being in his space. He doesn't like that. So I'm going back to just the circle driving I taught him, where, if you want to take off and be reactive, the only thing I'm going to do is move your feet. And I don't want to always make him run. Moving your feet can just be this. I want him to get used to that rope, so we're just going to drive it around him. And now I'm going to start throwing it at him a little bit closer to his back, and you see how he steps up. And I'm going to keep doing this until he stops and stands still, and then I'll reward him. But I'm trying to get him desensitized. So I'm taking this lead rope, and you can see I can barely flick it on him now. I flicked the space. Now we're going to flick it on him, and I'll do this day after day after day as long as it takes. I want him to get used to things coming at him. I want him to get used to me throwing things at him. I want him to get used to me even being by him. So here we go. Get you a long lead rope. You can use. I do it with the whip sometimes. I like my lunge whip for this, where I'll use the lunge whip over his back and around his legs, and. I do that first, and then I come in here with the lead rope, because this horse, whether it's a lunge whip or even if I change the color of the lead rope, he's picky. He's like my wonderful wife. Colors make a difference. To me, colors don't make a difference. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. To her, if it's got to be red, it's got to be red. I don't care if it's red, blue, yellow, green. But yeah, that's what happens when you been married 41 wonderful years. Your spouse is just fantastic, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be around. Oh, and there's my favorite cats. Yeah, those are the neighbors' cats I complain about, but I like animals, so they're all right. But they do love my cars and my house and my tack room. So I do it on one side. What I got to do? I got to start on the other side. So did I throw it at him? No. Let's start throwing it at the ground. Let's start throwing it in the space, because he held still after I threw it on his back. Once he holds still, I do it a couple times. He's holding still, so I could approach it closer. Now I just kind of toss it a little bit over the front shoulders. You see how reactive, how nervous he is. I'm going to tell you, this horse doesn't want to be reactive. He doesn't want to be mean. He has the biggest heart. Problem is, he doesn't know how to use it. He's still scared. And so I want him to be comfortable with me. So I'm going to continue to throw it over the top. Yep, ignore the cat, we know. Throw it over the top until he stands still. And then I'll walk up with him with that rope and I'll rub it away. So every time you sensitize a horse to something, you have to desensitize the horse to something. For those of you who can hear the music and tunes in the background, I love to jam them while I do this for a couple reasons. Number one, I want that loud music, that banging. I want a horse to get used to sounds. I want him to get used to odd stuff. If somebody has a horse in an arena and they play music, I want him where that doesn't get him hot. Also, with my health issues, and I've told people a lot of times I struggle in pain, so it just gets my mind off of it and gets me in a great mood. So I always work to music. So always music going in the background. Now, see, he stayed still. I'm going to rub it away. He's still, oh boy, I don't know, Bruce. I don't know, old man. Okay, it's okay. Let's rub it away. Now I'm going to yield the front end. I'm going to yield that front end. He doesn't like that. See, I'm working on yielding the forequarters. I put my hand up in his face. I yield the forequarters. Now I'm going to work on yielding the forequarters on the other side. I try to throw different things in as I work just so I can use the tools I need so he gets comfortable. This horse would be a fantastic elk hunting horse. I'd love to pack my big cash cab horse. Goes back to Secretariat. I've had elk on him. My brother's got horses. We've packed elk since I was a kid, and he would be a fantastic mountain elk packing horse. He's so big, big feet. So go back to just throwing it over the top. Got a little George Thorogood going on, but yeah, good music. Country, I shuffle country and classic rock. I hate the new country today. Why do they? You know, the bad thing is all the new country singers, none of them live in the country. I went to New York for work, and they play the same country music downtown New York City as they do out here in Erda, Utah. And it just drives me nuts. And people, oh, this is country. Nah, it's not country, but it's just sad. There's nobody who really lives in the country, works the country, who knows how to write a country song. But that's a pet peeve. I can go on for hours. So keep throwing it over him, rubbing it away. Throw it over him, rub it away. Keep changing sides, changing sides. I like to work both sides, back and forth. Sometimes I'll do it 5 times on one side, 5 times the other, five. Sometimes I'll just do it a few times one side, go back and forth to make him keep changing his brain. The more that I can keep him thinking and changing his brain, the better off I'm going to be. Now just rub it away. Rub it away, enjoy the music, sing, scream, tell jokes, dream of being elk hunting or fishing. I gotta tell you, COVID's been the best for me because I'm not a people person. I'll admit it. And so people stay away. And so I love the COVID. I don't have to shake hands. People don't want to try to put their arms around me. And oh, there goes my famous cat again. Oh, yeah, they do come through. So just play with your horse. Now you see I can put the rope farther over his back. You see how far it came? Horses don't like that slap in the backside. See that? So now I'm going to slap him a little bit more with the lead rope. I'm getting a little more aggressive with it. See him throw his head? Now, you got to build that up. And it's a fine art to know just how much pressure to push on him. If you put too much, he's going to take off. But as long as he's letting me come up to his neck and his face and his head, and he's not pulling it out of my hands, I'm going to do it. And I might not throw it on him. There I threw it short because I just got to get the space. Let him know sometimes it's not even going to touch him. Let him know that, putting this lead rope over your back isn't going to hurt you. You're huge. This lead rope doesn't weigh anything, and it's not going to hurt you. I mean, it's all love. It's all patience. It's all time. If you don't have, I want to say, a minimum of a half hour a day, 5 to 7 days a week, you don't have time to work with a horse. I generally do an hour a day, and I do it 7 days a week, but you have to put the time in it takes. And I'm going to tell you, every day you skip, if you do 5 days, when you came back on Monday, you pretty well go back, instead of going back to Friday, you go back to Wednesday or Thursday sometimes, which is fine if that's what you can do. But just be prepared to keep repeating that until I can go for 2 or 3 days, come out and do something to him, and he doesn't react. If I can go 3 or 4 days and come out and he doesn't react, I know he's got that concept down. And that's what it's all about. So they remember the concept over a period of time. So when you come back out, it's not restarting. I have many people, well, my horse is good if I lunge him before I get on him. Well, that tells me you haven't done that enough. So that concept of you getting on him, you haven't worked that as many days in a row as you need. So when he comes out, instead of lunging him, he says, why don't you just get on me and let's save that part. I want to be able to walk out of my door, catch my horse, and jump on his back if I need be. And that's really time. It just tells me you haven't put the time in. You see, I'm just rubbing him, loving him. He's still so shy. He doesn't like me around his head. And I'm going to do this for days. You know, I've probably been 3 weeks now with this horse just to get him to this stage. Um, and we'll just keep working him. We'll just keep loving him until he gets so used to me being a part of him that he gets so used to it. And what's the neat part is as you advance, they start understanding, okay, how do I figure this out? Last time you told me to hold still, I did better. And you will see them look to figure it out. You'll look for that concept. But as I find a spot here, I got to go back to his head. I got to go back to that, what I've been doing for days to desensitize him. Just rubbing him away. Rub on him, love on him, hug him, squeeze him. The other thing I like to do is give him a heart attack. Anytime I can give my horse a heart attack and scare him when I'm ready, I do. I want it to come out of the blue. Um, I want him to get used to me just doing something stupid at any given time. Because that's what happens when you're riding, right? You're riding, a big bull elk runs in front of you, or a cow jumps out, or a bear jumps out. I've had it deer. I've had it all happen. Even a rock they don't like, all of a sudden that just something freaks them out. I want him to always expect the unexpected, and I want him to have those heart attacks when it's safe. Just work him. Just work him. Rub him. Take the time. My dad had a saying, and it's a saying that I always laughed at because it never made sense, but uh, he lived up in Schofield in an old house. He was born in the house he lived in, and he'd say, "Oh, Leo, the track is on the train. Go throw some cow to the hay." Well, the reason why is they had an Irishman, and it was the way he could. If they threw the hay out, they'd get the cows off the track, and they'd come down and eat the hay, so they wouldn't lose any cows while the old steam engine went through. And my brother and I was hunting one day, and I screamed out, "Oh, Leo, the elk is in the tree. Please bring the camp back to me." And we laughed. It's kind of a funny thing, but I love odd sayings. I'm kind of an odd duck. Uh, love messing around. I miss my dad, guys, if you don't get with your dad, hunt and fish. I've taught my daughters to hunt and fish. My daughter was Miss Twilla. Uh, they've been on horses. They would get in the mud. They could do everything you want. Um, they can shoot a gun. Uh, I don't care if it's your sons or your daughters. Spend the time. Camp, love them. Uh, my wife, she's been on an elk hunt with me. She's seen us shoot elk, gut elk. Uh, Not her specialty. Uh, Boy, she rode with my dad in the Washboard Road. She swore she'd never do that again, going elk hunting. But that is the fun of life. Those are the memories. And I'm going to honestly tell you, I remember the hardships more than I do the great hunts. The easy hunts, I don't remember. I have a ton of hard hunts, a ton of stories, a ton of cars breaking down, flat tires. My brother and I were double riding a horse once elk hunting, and it Brownie, and we were going up a mountain, and it rolled back over all of us. Brother jumps out and it just smashes me. I mean, break my scope, I break my gun. I mean, those are the days you remember. Being elk hunting and getting 3.5 feet of snow in the middle of the night when you're back into nowhere. Those are the days you remember. So here I'm just going back to holding him, loving him. Now I'm doing something else. See, I reach around his head. I'm putting pressure so he tilts his head toward me. I want him, see, I push on that backside. He tilts, I let off. He straightens his head. I was pushing and he lets off. Why do I do that? I want him comfortable tilting his head to me. I want him comfortable with what I'm doing. Now I've been working on halter breaking him. Yeah, I can put a halter on him, but he doesn't like it. And so that's why I've got my hands around his head and up in there. And here I bring the halter again. I've been doing this for a couple days. I show him the halter. I rub it away. His T spot, his favorite spot, up between his eyes. I rub it on him. I want him comfortable with the halter. I want him comfortable with the rope. I don't want to pull out a halter and have him take off. Now we're going to scoop his nose. Going to scoop his nose. See how he doesn't like me to reach around his neck to put it on, so I'm going to just reach it up. I'm going to reach it up. I'm just going to kind of hold it. I'm going to rub it. I'm just going to ease it and let him know it's okay. Now I'm going to take it away. I have to go through every motion with this horse. Every motion till he gets so comfortable with putting halters on, putting bridles on, putting blankets on. He's not going to let you do anything. He is not going to let you move another inch or another hair on his body. Yeah, you haven't touched that hair yet. You got to desensitize that hair. Then take the time. So scoop his nose, get him used to it coming on, get him used to reaching up the backside. I'm just patting him there. I just want him like I'm lifting that halter over his neck. I want him to get used to it. Now I'm going to connect my hands a little bit. Now I'm going to pull the halter back down like I put it on. And yeah, he's got a halter on. I'm just putting a halter over a halter right now just to get him comfortable and taking it off. And see, I put it on and I removed it. It wasn't an issue. I'm going to rub it away. I'm going to desensitize him with it. You know, so many people are lucky they have a horse that they don't even have to do anything. They can put a halter and a lead rope and walk him. They've just been around them, and that's the joy of having a horse that, you know, you've raised out of a colt. But when that doesn't happen, and one of these horses has just been spooked, uh, take the time. Now you see me reach up around his head, just like I'm putting a halter on and rubbing it away. I'm getting him used to me handling his head. He does not want you around his head. He doesn't want you around his body, anywhere around his face. So I'm looking for spots. I'm looking for spots. I'm rubbing the weather shield. Take the time. Now let's go back to throwing the rope. That's something I've been working with him, throwing objects around him, getting him used to me, throwing the rope at the ground, desensitizing that mouse, desensitize the snow. Spend the time to desensitize. And you just got to keep doing it till he's comfortable. You've seen me do this already with him, you know, on an earlier day on this episode. Now I got to do it again today. You see, I got to start right at the beginning again, right on the ground. See him backing up. If he's backing up, I know he's not ready for me to throw it at him. So it's the same exercises over and over. And I throw it over his back. Oop, throw it at him. He doesn't like that. You see him throw his head. Work the same exercises over and over. Enjoy your tunes. One of my favorite things to make up words to songs. I don't think I ever know the right words to any songs. I know every song, but I know my own versions. I even make up songs that my wife just can't stand, but hey, you know what? One of my favorite ones is, I call it, her name is Ruth. She's got one gold tooth, and that's why I call her Honey. I work all day. She stays home and plays, and that's why I call her Honey. Yeah, she is my honey. Here we are. I did something on one side. I got to do it on the other side. Throw it at his head. Why? I want him to be used to things coming. I want him to be used to anything. So just take your time. Spend the day at, you know, I can push him through every drill there ever was in a day. It'd just be a disaster. I love these videos online where, yeah, 7 days I did all the fundamentals. 7 days I did all this. Yeah, and God made the earth in 7 days. Yeah, well, I'm not God. So guess what? I'm going to take my time. And there goes my favorite cats again. Yeah. Did you notice the horse didn't even look at him this time? I want reactions. I want cats running through. I want dogs running through. I want my horses running around. I want him to get used to distractions and still have to focus on me. Okay, I've been throwing it at him. What am I going to do? I'm going to rub it away. If you don't desensitize, you haven't done anything. And desensitize him with the same tools, the same weapon you sensitized him with. This horse was so funny. He wouldn't come to a bucket of grain. He wouldn't let you feed him anything. He wouldn't. You're too scary for him to even come close. You go towards his back legs, he'd kick at you. Front legs, he'd kick at you. He used to get. I wish I got a video. He used to when he'd get tired of something like this, he'd start charging at me and rearing up. And if they do that on you, go back to circle driving. Go back to lunging him. Go back to controlling him with the rope. Go back to letting him get used to you where you are out at a safe distance. And when he goes up in the air, crack the whip and move his feet. Every time he went up, I'd move his feet hard. Okay, now we're coming out the next day. New day. I'm going to start all over again. He didn't do what I want him to do, so I'm going to yell at him. He's getting, and that's what I like about him. When I start screaming at him, watch him stop. See him stop? Instead of just taking off the other direction, he knows I shouldn't have done that. So he's stopping. He's trying to find the right thing to do. I'm pointing, and that shows you the signs when they start to think. Now he stopped on his own and he wanted to turn around. I told him no. I asked you to come around. If you want to come to me, fine. Now I walk to the fence, and I have to remind him, if I walk to the fence, turn into me. Crud, I've been doing this 3 weeks, and you see, he still wants to test. So I point, I cluck. If he doesn't go, I spank. I want him, when I point, he takes off. Now I did it. See, I turn around and start walking to the fence, and he knows how he's going to tell me to turn. That is what I want him to do. I want him to turn into me. But I'm going to show you. It is back to fundamentals every day with him. I'm going to ask him to come. Nope. He says nope. So he's going to keep running. Let him go. He stopped. He wanted to turn around. I don't want it to turn the wrong way. I don't want him to do that. So I walk back. He's turning the wrong way. So I just yell at him. You see him stop. Now I spank at his rear end because he knows to turn the right way. So I'll walk down the fence. Now he's been doing the right way for a long time. 3 weeks later, decides, I don't remember. We've been doing this every day. That just shows you they will do this to you. And it frustrates you. They'll do great, and you're like, oh, they got it down. Hip, hip, hooray, I can stop. Wrong. If I stop, I'm teaching him the wrong thing. So I always do. Start with the round pen, start with the whatever fundamentals a lot of times, and I want to see if he's thinking. You know, the cool thing, the minute you walk out there and start doing something, he will tell you when he's ready to start thinking. Okay, now he finally's come to me, and so we're going to remind him just the same thing all over again. It's okay if I'm in your space. Can we lead again? Oh, yeah, you'd think after 3 weeks you can lead. Well, many horses you can lead in a day. I'm just going to check you. You notice what I'm doing? I'm walking in different circles. I want him to follow me wherever I go. Just like I do when I round pen and I make him connect without a lead rope, I'm following the same pattern with a lead rope. I side to side. I walk towards his rear end. I am looking for ways to get him to connect, and I'm going right back to what? Desensitizing the ground at an angle. Today he was very sensitive. Uh, so instead of just throwing it right at him again, reactive is this horse, let's throw it out in the air. But you notice he's not jumping it. I'm throwing it higher. I'm throwing it more aggressive. I can throw it at the cat there if I want to. Yeah, me and my cats that aren't mine. Just like the chickens. My granddaughter's 3, and my neighbor's chickens used to come over and lay uh, eggs in my hay, and she'd find them in the hay and bring them in. And I would say, she says, "Well, I want eggs, Grandpa." And I said, "I don't have eggs." She said, "Well, we can borrow the neighbor's chickens." Yeah, we borrow a lot of neighbor's chickens. Don't mean to. So I did it to the left. Let's do it to the right. My neighbor, he's a really good guy. I do like him. I don't think he cares for me much because of my music, but he's a good guy. The whole family's a pretty good family. So rub it away, rub it away. I wouldn't want to live by me either. I'm an old cranky dude. No way I want to live by me. So you'd think, after 3 or 4 days of doing this, he would hold still, but you notice he still wants to move. Well, then I got to keep working the drill. What's my role? Until I can do it right out of the box the first time without a reaction for a couple, 3 or 4 days in a row, he hasn't conquered the exercise. Or I know there's people out there that says conquered the game. I don't call them games because to me this isn't a game. Horse training is serious. You can get hurt. The horses can get hurt. My grandkids can get hurt. To me, it's serious. But to me, I do this. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for fame or YouTube. YouTube video. I wouldn't know what a YouTube video was really. Heck, I was born with no computers. I can program an old Fortran, and nobody even knows what Fortran was when I went through, or deck 10 and punch cards. Now they have these widget discs that are shiny and drives they stick in the side. I don't know. Engineer, and I hate modern technology, but I love to build automation. So let's start throwing it over his back. Let's start throwing it more at him. And how long are we going to do this? Till he stands still. Notice how I hold my hand up above his face. Why do I do that? I want him to keep to the side. I want to keep at a 45-degree angle. I want to protect myself if he lunges at me, uh, like he has in the past. I want to make sure that I'm in good position. After I see him calm down, I forget all the safety measures. But that's because I've done it long enough. I can read him. I can read him. But when I start out, I follow every procedure. So those of you who have a horse that you don't think can be broke, has been a bucking horse, or has just won't stand in a trailer, won't do this, won't do that, uh, take the time. I don't believe there's a bad horse out there, and that's while I'm doing this horse because I wanted the worst horse to see if my theory was right. And so far, I can tell you it is. I really don't believe there's a bad horse out there. I broke certain habits or this or that for somebody, but um, I wanted to make sure that the methods work. I don't care if you call them methods, exercises, whatever you want to do, but it does. The thing to do is follow every step. So right now, we've gone through the round penning. We got him to connect with us, where he'll follow us in the pen. We've got him where we can put a halter on him. We've got him where we can put a leader rope. We can do a little circle driving. We got him where we can touch him a little bit. That's as far as this horse is right now. And I got him where I can stand in the pen, and he's comfortable with me in the pen with him. He doesn't snort at me. Well, let's just take the time. One side, the other side. Why am I putting you through all this? I know I'm boring. I'm talking. I'm showing you it doesn't come easy. There is no magic wand. I am not magic. Now look, I'm doing two hands. One up one way, one down the other as I rub it away. That's new to him. I'm getting more aggressive when I'm rubbing it away. I'm getting more reactive when I rub it away. Rubbing with the stick. This is new color rope, new color whip. He hasn't he doesn't like that. But now I'm starting to yield to her end more. Tap, 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 yield. I'm not in as close as I'd like to be yet. But he doesn't want me to stand there, so what am I doing? Tap the air. If he doesn't move, I don't really need to tap his butt. He's going to go anywhere. So I let's work on. I'm working on yielding the rear end. I hold my elbow up, hold him away. I look at his rear end and I tap the air. See that? I'm getting him now more where I can get closer to his rear end, and I can get him where he knows. And then you notice I threw the whip over his back and rubbed him a little bit with it. But here, we'll tap the air 3 times. If that doesn't work, I'd tap his behind 3 times. If that doesn't work, we'll whack the rear end. But this horse doesn't need that. See? I'm looking at that rear end and I'm getting him to yield. I'm getting him to bend. I'm getting him his nose to come around towards me. See how he's looking towards me? He's awful nervous. But now is the first, I'm getting closer, where before I had to circle drive him out wide, now I'm getting closer to his rear end. Now I'm getting closer to the dangerous parts. If I'd have tried this earlier, he'd have kicked at me. So what am I doing? Rubbing it away. And I'm going to rub him to a stop. There he stopped. Rub him to a stop. And now I'm going to raise my hand, rub it away, desensitize, look at his rear end. Notice I didn't tell him to move that time. I didn't tap the air. I went straight to rubbing it away. Why? I didn't want him, every time that I raise that stick, he moves it away. Now I'm going back to working on yielding the front quarters. We yielded the hind quarters. I'm going back to working on drills on yielding the forequarters. Tap, tap, tap the air. If that doesn't work, I tap him. See how he steps back? He doesn't like that. So I've done it a little bit, but now we're getting more aggressive. Tap the air. Tap, 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 tap. There you go. I got a step. Only got a step. Doesn't want to move. I want him to yield. There we go. I got a step. Stop. I just got a step. There we go. I got a step. So all I want is him to give. The minute he gives, I stop. He doesn't yield from me putting the pressure on him. He learn. He learns when I take that pressure away. So I did it to one side. What I got to do the other side? There, I got a step. There, I got a step. Now he's walking away. That's all right. He's not doing what I want, so I'm going to keep following. He's not, so what am I going to do? I'm going to put pressure on him. Put a little pressure on him. Put a little pressure. Drive him away. He didn't like me close. Put a little pressure on him. Put a little pressure on him. Drive him away. Put a little pressure on him. Drive him away. If he's not going to stand still for the exercise, that's how reactive he is, then I'm going to make him move his feet. Now I'm going to ask him to yield. Going to ask him to yield. See if he's ready to stop. Nope. So a little more pressure on his rear end. Anytime I do an exercise and he wants to take off, make him work. Make him move his feet. Make him want to stand. Make it easy. Make the right thing easy and the wrong thing hard. So we're going to just keep the pressure. Keep the pressure. Keep the pressure. Keep the pressure. I want him to stop. I want him to stand still. Then I'm going to rub it away. Now we're going to go back to yielding the forequarters. Yield the head. Yield the head. Do I get a step? No. Going to work on it some more. Going to rub it away. Sometimes you got to do the air. Sometimes you got to do the space. I want him to yield. 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 Just a step. There we go. Now he's standing still. Just for me to get him to stand still going up and down. I don't want him scared of that. That's yield, yield. Turned his head away. That was enough. He just turned his head away. I'm going to get him back out a little bit. But sometimes you just got to get him used to letting you have the stick up there to yield that 4/4. See, I'm pushing on him. There we go. What did I do? He stepped away. I let the pressure come down. Here we yield the 4/4, yield the head. He tap a little harder. He didn't move at all. Funny, see, he went from not moving at all or moving too much to not moving at all. But he's still not turning in a circle. That's all right. I want him to get used to me pushing on him with it, with just a little bit of pressure. Yield the pressure. People say, Bruce, your form's not perfect. This is, I don't care, guys. It's not the perfection of the stance or how you palm up or palm down. It's the time, it's the method, it's doing the task. Okay, tap, tap, out, tap, 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 a little more aggressive, a little more aggressive. Here's a horse that wouldn't run off. Now he won't even take a step. See him lean over? Now he left, and I moved. Crazy. This horse wouldn't let me get close. Now he doesn't want us to move his feet. How is that? Because I've taught him the more he stands still, the more I'm going to relieve the pressure. So he had pressure, so what did he do? He glued his feet. He put them in cement. I love that. I love that. He's trying to figure it out. He wants to figure out. See him lean? See him glue his feet? He's leaning. He's leaning. He does. There we go. Because I've taught him to stand under pressure. Now he doesn't understand I need to move with pressure too. But I love that. And that shows you. And you saw it. Now there he goes. He stepped away. And you saw I didn't make him move that feet between this drill. I didn't run him. I didn't get him all hot and heavy again. Now now I'm going to get my head out of the way. So I pop it a little bit. He says, okay, I'll move over. Now I'm going to rub him to a stop. He's taken off. Now he wants to move off, so I'm going to rub him to a stop, make him glue his feet again. He wants to figure it out. This horse, everything he wants to figure it out. He just doesn't know how to figure it out. That's my job. Now standing still a lot, so let's move his feet. Let's keep him circle driving. See where that whips right up on his back, and I'm going to rub him to a stop. He's not going to do it. I'm going to keep him going in a circle. He doesn't want to stop. I'm going to just keep the pressure. He doesn't want to stop. I'm going to keep the pressure. He doesn't want to stop. I'm going to keep the pressure. Now here's a horse that went from glued feet to I can't let you close to me, just because we.
Here's a horse I couldn't get to move his head. He couldn't get his head still. Now watch when I go up next to him. He doesn't want to move.
Now he doesn't want to move at all. See, crazy. I rub him to his stop. Now I got to drive him. So he goes back and forth. Okay, what do you want me to do? Stand or move? I want him to understand. I want him to move it, yield his 4/4. That's a new concept. There's a horse that wouldn't stand still. Now he won't move. So crazy. Here's a horse. I go into a pen. He won't stand still, and now his feet are glued in cement. Crazy, isn't it? And so what do? I come over here and love him, rub on him, tell him I like him, tell him I'm not going to hurt him after all that pressure. I'm going to hold his head. I'm going to put it on my shoulder. See how he just buries his head in my shoulder? I rub it away and say, yeah, you and me are friends. Talking to my wife out there, explaining to her what to do. She comes out and checks on me. She's worried about my health, make sure I'm safe, make sure he hasn't killed me. She's a sweetheart. Got a great wife. So I'm going back to just rubbing around, putting my hands around him, getting used just like I would a halter. Look at that. I can put my arms around him. I can hold him. I can love him. I can rub on him. Now look, I can go back. He's still a little sensitive on his butt. See that? But I'll work on the rear end. You see that? And that made him nervous. See how hot he is just because I touched his rear end now. But you see? All that other experience, he didn't want me there. I'm looking at his scars, seeing how they held up. He's doing pretty good. Bring him over for my wife can see. But he's doing pretty good. You can see the scars are healing up on the back.
Up on the inside.
But I'm really pleased with this horse for 3 weeks, and as crazy as he's been, um, I just value the time with him, and I'm just so glad that they brought him to me. Um, Give me a chance to make a right, make him safe.
Yes, and
Now I just go back to loving him and rubbing him.
get away from me and run for an hour.
Rub him on the other side. Just because you're doing exercise, just don't put him away wet. Uh, I'm getting to the end of this day, and all I'm going to do now at the end of this day is rub him out, make him more comfortable with me because we've had a great day. Simple lessons, desensitize. I'm going to spend the time just to desensitize. When I get done with the day, I just desensitize. Okay, now we're out here the next day, and I'm going right back to seeing where he's at, judging him.
Yeah, he didn't even move that time.
And now you notice I went to his head, he didn't move. Now I'm checking some of the water shield. Now I want to see how he is today, rub him out. We've gone through a lot of exercises today, just like we did the other days, and I'm just want to show you, his progress. Rubbing his head, rubbing his face. Um, Go ahead and spend the hours day after day. But every time I sensitize, I spend more time out here loving him and desensitizing him. He's spooky. He doesn't like people around him. So the more I can rub on him, the more I can pat him. Oh, I remember the first time I tried to pat this. I patted this horse one time and he bolted. Everything's got to come work the weather shield. That's the head, the mane, down the back. I'd like to go down the tail. He's not that way. Uh, he's not ready for me to move back there. Don't move back there. Don't force the issue. Don't do anything stupid. I'm too old to get hurt again. I've been run over by trucks. I've fallen off cliffs. I've crashed on a bicycle. It took all the skin off me. You name it, I've done it. I've got every disease. Gone through cancer. Gone through hemochromatosis. Gone through this. Gone through that. Yield the rear end. Just, just do all the things that you continually do, day after day. I just want him to do a little bit of trying to get him to do a little C pattern. I don't want him to go around in a lunge. I want him to turn. So I want him to go ahead and see how he gets a little bit hot. Now I'm trying to get the rear end jilted a little bit. Get him used to keeping that rear end jilted. You notice he doesn't want to do it. He's been doing it before. So I just keep finding where he stopped before and keep working. I'm going to bump him a little bit. Gonna bump him a little bit. There, I'm gonna still look at that rear end. 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 I'm gonna keep looking at it. What do I want it to do? I want it to go away. There. Now it's starting to turn away. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna rub it away. I'm gonna rub it to a stop. These are exercises I've showed you, exercises I've done, but exercises you got to keep coming back to in the course of every day because they do backtrack. They don't get anything perfect the first. And I'm going to say this: every exercise will get uglier before it gets better. I've had exercises look just perfect, and the next thing you know, they're ugly again. Don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. There, now I'll rub it away. I just kind of want to show you my pains, show you what it takes. Yeah, it's not for the videos. I'm sorry, but if they're helpful to you, I'm throwing them up there. I'm not charging you $1 million to show you what I do. If you have problems with the horse, want to bring it to me, we can work something. Come on out. I'll work with anybody. I won't charge you. Let's just have fun. I'm really here to teach people about horses because I want every horse out there to have a good life. I want everybody to be able to enjoy their horse. Besides, you can't make money training horses. I don't care if you charge $600 a month. That's peanuts for the time you have to put in a horse. I'm trying to teach him to tie up a little bit better. Put it around. I want him to step up. He doesn't like to come tight to a fence. He doesn't like to come tight to a gate when you tie him. So I'll wrap it around and I'll push his hind end a little bit until he gets comfortable to coming up. But you got to work on everything. Now I finally tied it, and I'm going to push his rear end. I'm going to push him up there to where it's tight. I'm going to push him up there to where it's tight. I'm going to tell him I want him to stay up there where it's tight, where he's tied. I left it long, and I'm going to just keep working his back end until he steps up to where he's tied off tight, to where he's standing where he's tied. So I work left, I work right, I point. There he goes. There he goes. Here I'm going back to the horse trailer drills I've showed you. I'm putting him back in the horse trailer again. Go back to those things that I've already done. Go through those things I've already worked at. Maybe I haven't done the horse trailer with you, but that here I'm just trying to push him in a small horse trailer. I like to put him in a small horse trailer, and I do the same thing. I'll tie him to, I'll work him and let him stand. I always want him to relax outside the horse trailer, but now I'm taking the time to just keep working him where he's not afraid. And we'll work more on this, but I just want to show you the things that I do. I showed you how I get him to go to where I tied him tight. Then I'll tie him to a horse trailer. There he goes, stepping up into the horse trailer on his own. You can hear, if you heard it, you can hear him banging. But it's the same type of thing. Make him work out here where he wants to be. Push him up tight where he doesn't want to be. But I like to put him in a very, very small horse trailer. I like to uh, put him where they don't want to be. So this is the first time he's ever been in a small trailer. I'll show you. I put him up in that horse trailer. So I tied him to the post till he stood. I worked his feet, and then he jumped up in the trailer. And you'll see later that he'll act like he doesn't want to go in the trailer in the next couple days. But I want him comfortable up in there. I want him to be able to sit in a small trailer. I want him to be able to be tied to something that he's scared to. Well, have a great day, and sorry to bore you, and watch the next videos if you want. Thank you.